Hi everyone! Recently we got an excerpt for the next Wings of Fire book, which will be number 15 and called The Flames of Hope. It's supposed to release on April 5th of this year, but we never really know with the way these books have been delayed in the last few years. Anyway, it'll have an above average word count, a page count with 368 pages, and it will feature Luna as the main protagonist. Anyway, it's going to conclude the third and possibly final of the main Wings of Fire narrative arcs. And today I will be reading the official excerpt from Scholastic and giving my first impressions on what might be the last Wings of Fire book of the main series. So with that out of the way, let's begin. So, of course, first we just have this stuff which we get in every book, the title page and the rights. That's an interesting dedication. I've definitely never seen anything about that before. And Lost Continent Prophecy, The Emblem, and Part 1, The Land Across the Sea, which is a reference to the prophecy. Again, where it's turning in the second line, actually. So first thing I'm noticing is that normally with these sorts of things, we get a prologue and chapter 1, but this is only showing chapter 1. It's definitely going to be longer, given that we know this is more than what we normally get for just one chapter, but it still might be worth noting. The weaving is probably a reference to the Silkwing's abilities, which could hint at the ending. I don't know. It's the first time I know anything about this, so. So there's something interesting in here, which I'm noticing hasn't really been brought up much before, about well, maybe this isn't intentional, but what I'm definitely reading from this is the fact that we also, as readers, only see the main point of view, which it's not always a bad thing, but it can hide some things, which is useful for obvious narrative reasons. But it also definitely skews the impression that we get from books and even in the media. I like how they said the tiny bugs under their talons, where hivewings and silkwings are inspired off of insects. It's just a neat little thing. Might not even be intentional, but you know. I wonder if these brain changers from the fairy tales have to do something with the other mind. Could play into the rest of the book later. Okay. This reminds me of the end of Darkness of Dragons with Darkstalker being turned into Peacemaker. I know there are definitely a lot of differing viewpoints on that, so I'll try not to give my opinion too much. But basically, they did kind of brainwash him, so that's kind of what's going on here, but it's brainwashing for a good reason, kind of, if there is such a thing as brainwashing for a good reason. But that also brings up the fact that, like, um, maybe it's not always okay for the heroes to go to drastic measures to save the day, as they have in the past. Trails of flames. There's more of the tapestries, which again connected to the silk weaving powers, and they were up here as well. Hmm. This is sort of more like blue than Luna, what I'm reading from this. Yeah, the Leaflings aren't going to like that very much. Hmm. It's more of the responsibility of being a flame silk and whether that's really a good thing or whether it's a hidden curse, sort of like with animus magic. Maybe that's going. Maybe the flame silk is going to play more into this arc as a substitute for animus magic, like we had in the last arc. Pineapple. Luna also reminded me not just herself because I did not remember that. I hope Pineapple's memorable, and the Mudwing. Don't remember the Mudwing's name either. Hmm. Centuries. Secretly in pain. Um, that's an allusion to the spell which Jerboa the First cast on Jerboa the Second or Third, depending on how you count it. Because, it just takes bits of her body instead of her soul. Kind of like Stonemover, actually. Oh, wow. This feels reminiscent of the prophecy. The one had four wings, the other had two. They were both looking like on the side of the ocean. When? It's interesting that that's not italicized. I don't know. Guess that's how I would imagine it being said. Though that's kind of cliche. Preposterous whippersnapper. set it on fire. She mentioned that earlier, didn't she? Whatever. It's probably somewhere. Hmm. Very hopeful expectations for magic, but it's it's not going to have a big role in this arc, if you want my honest opinion, after how influential it was to the last one. Hmm. From the last couple of pages, I'm getting this idea that Luna's sort of trying to hide her actual emotions, which is interesting when you take that into account to how optimistic she's been seeming through the insights that we get from other characters looking at her in for example the prologue of book 12, I think, because I never really thought of her having these inside thoughts as opposed to her outside demeanor. So interesting. I hope it's related to the rest of the plot. Time zones. They haven't mentioned that before. I mean, they wouldn't, given the fact that they don't have very quick travel, but it's interesting. It's interesting that they've thought of it. I mean, obviously, someone would have, since the Nightwings have known for a very long time that the Earth's been, well, pen, whatever world they inhabit has been round, but again, if I don't think they've ever mentioned it. I don't know if I like the Dream Visitors being relevant again, because it's a nice nod to the earlier stuff, and it's definitely a useful thing to include. But at the same time, I know a lot of people who would argue, including probably myself, that overusing animus magic was kind of where the second arc went wrong. So, you know, at least this time they're not casting random enchantments to accidentally make yourself invulnerable, but still, I hope it doesn't have too big of a role. Hmm. So, what it's saying about Swordtail here is similar to what I've got from Luna's personality so far, is that they're sort of taking their problems and burying them and pretending they don't exist. And I'm interested to see how they're going to resurface later on. Hmm. It's a detail we haven't had before. These my muscles are what? That's the other mind, obviously, but I read the Dune books recently, and it reminds me of the "my skin is not my own," if you know what I'm talking about. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. Oh. If Io's been captured, I wonder how much, if any, the other mind knows about the location of Pyria and the map to get there. Hmm. I apologize for the background noise. Just a fact of life, I guess. Big obnoxious plant with a grudge. I wonder how they will kill it, because it can't be peril, because if she burnt it, that would just release it into the sky. And I somewhat doubt that stabbing a plant a lot of times is the best way to get rid of it. Oh no, it's the end. Oh well. Well, that certainly got me excited. I don't know about you. I don't know if you can even see my cursor as it goes across the screen, which will be confusing if you're trying to watch this video and you made it to this point of the video where I can tell you that I was doing something with my cursor the whole time. But anyway, um, I'm excited for it. Uh, Tell me if you're excited for it in the comments below, I guess, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.